forced to leave school at age 9. But it wasn't possible to both go to school and work the grueling hours of back-breaking labor required to wrench the family out of insecurity and into the middle class. Worse, no one around him seemed to find this surprising or wrong. As a young man in Europe, in a brief moment of freedom, he had been drawn to discussions of socialist politics and theory. In the United States, he could belong to a union, but there wasn't much socialism to be found, particularly of an intellectual variety. In the land of opportunity, most of the opportunity consisted of bosses and company owners helping themselves to the benefits afforded by immigrant labor, race privilege, and other forms of power. In school, my mother observed among her peers the same lack of interest in education for education's sake. She applied to Union College, which wasn't yet accepting women, because it was inconceivable to her that she would not be allowed to attend. She was accepted, matriculated, and graduated, and then she faced even larger obstacles when she entered a PhD program where no one wanted to supervise women researchers. Each university she worked for was more corrupt than the last, and vulnerable people around her, immigrants, disabled people, and people who came to the Northeast from poorer, more rural places, were treated terribly, often in plain sight of others who could have helped but were indifferent or complicit. To people who have been disappointed in our country for a long time, the Trump era is not a shock. They already knew that the United States is prone to nativism, sexism, and racism, and that among those who aren't nativists, sexist, and racist are people who prefer to believe myths about liberty and justice, rather than see the country for what it is. To the cynics, this is not who we are, is self-delusion. The United States is a country that had trafficked in chattel slaves, but didn't repeal restrictions on immigration from African countries until 1965. A country that aggressively executed a genocide of indigenous people in order to expropriate their land. A country that admitted Chinese workers and then succumbed to a movement to drive them out. A country where employers felt comfortable telling the Irish they need not apply. A country that rounded up people of Japanese descent, took their possessions, and tried to repatriate them. A country that violently drove Mexican Americans off land that had not too long prior been forcibly taken from Mexico. The Muslim ban, the rejection of refugees and asylum seekers, the ease with which people ask, "What will we get out of the deal if we let you come here?" All of this is exactly who we are and who we have always been. Those of us who do not like this do not have to accept the past as prologue. But we have our work cut out for us if we want to reframe narratives about non-existent border crises, illegality, and dangerous immigrants. Illegal is just a small part of that larger project. Its chapters contain a narrative about modern nativism, much of which is predicated on the supposed illegality of people trying to enter the country. Undocumentedness itself is a status that we legislated into existence, and one we can also legislate right back out of existence. Because any rules about what is legal or illegal start with legislative action. I have worked hard in this book to show where there is a legislative path out of our current conundrum, in which it has become impossible.